Look at the person next to you and say, greetings. That's going to help you start living your legacy today. The first thing we're going to talk about is don't be to destroy your box of the past. The second thing we're going to talk about is don't be to do you. And the last thing we're going to talk about is don't be to get too mad. It's about to get real up in here. And by the way, the man scholar question, I need your permission before I go here because I only have so much time and I'm going to go there. So check it. Do I have your permission to keep, you know what? Let me ask it another way. By show of hands, how many of y'all in here are sick and tired of fake and phony people?
Yes, Lord Jesus.
Some of y'all so, I'm gonna keep it real with you. I'm gonna say some things that you like. I'm gonna say some things you might not even like. I'm gonna say something that's going to challenge you. Because if we're gonna leave our legacy every single day, get ready to be challenged. And you know what? Be ready to be that person in the face of your challenge. Do not move. So here we go. Y'all ready to do this? Here we go. Don't be to destroy your box of the past. Let me explain what I mean by that. When I say destroy your box, I'm not talking about your comfort zone. When I'm talking about your box, I'm talking about that one thing that happened in your life that literally, when it happened, he shut you down and changed how you walked through your life. When I'm talking about your box, I'm talking about that one thing that one person said is their opinion, but somehow you turned around and made it your reality. When I'm talking about your box, I'm talking about limitations. And I want you to understand there are two types of limitation. Limitation number one is the easy one. This limitation is where people can look at you, they can judge you, they can kind of make an assumption of the type of person they think you are, but they are wrong. How many of y'all have ever had someone judge you and their judgment was so wrong? And here's the thing, people are going to be quick to look at you, and unfortunately, especially in today's climate, they will look at the color of your skin. They'll look at how much money you have in the bank. They'll look at how much money you don't have in the bank. They'll look at where you grew up at. They look at who you hang out with. They look at your religion. They look at your sexuality. They will look for something to judge. I was at a networking event in Chicago, and I'm at this event, and as I'm at this event, you know, my boy, he was like, man, you need to be here. The lady, she's like the next Oprah. Man, you need to be there. I'm like, okay, cool. I get there, and she walks up to me, and she's like, so, where are you from? I said, Chicago. She said, where? I said, Southside. She said, where? I said, Dale Avenue. She said, oh. Well, I wish you the best. Has anyone ever said something so proud to you, if you didn't get away with it, you was something and they hit each other? And I'm looking at her, I haven't even known you for 5 minutes, but you know what? I didn't say anything, and I grew up in the church, and I knew how to punch people and run, but I couldn't do it in that moment. Fast forward a few years later, I get a call from my wife, bro, you remember the old girl that he did with? I'm like, yeah, what's up? He's like, bro, she's struggling. I was like, okay. He's like, no, bro, you don't understand. She's tried several businesses, they all fail. She's staying in somebody's basement, they get ready to kick her out. Bro, she is struggling. And when he told me that, initially, my heart went out in that moment. And then that moment passed. Because all of a sudden, I'm like, Isn't it interesting? You were concerned about me because I told you the street I grew up on, but here it is, you're struggling, but I'm running 2 businesses. I oversee a nonprofit organization. I'm an international speaker, traveler, and trainer, and maybe my bank account was not sexy. But see, that limitation is the easiest one to get over because literally, you can just move on from what people say. It's the second limitation that holds us back. And that second limitation is what we choose to tell ourselves. And if you're in a limited situation, look, grew up south side of Chicago, and like it was not easy for me. And I would look around, and if I had to go by how everyone else lived and how I was supposed to live, it was not looking good for me. And some of y'all may be looking at me like, bro, what's just that? How you gonna tell me to destroy my box? You don't know what I deal with on a daily basis. You don't know what I deal with when I go home. So how you gonna walk up in here and tell me to destroy my box of the past? You know what? I'm gonna put it to you like this. You weren't there. You weren't there when I was a little boy and I used to cry myself to sleep almost every single night because of the simple fact I wanted my dad to be a part of my life, but he was more interested in chasing women around Chicago. You weren't there. You weren't there because my dad wasn't being married. To work not only one but two jobs to take care of me and my baby girl sister to make sure we could go to school with no problem and have decent clothes on our back. You weren't there. You weren't there. When my mom, she lost those two jobs. And when she lost those two jobs, we ended up on what they call public assistance, which is a fancy way of saying we were on welfare. Literally, the beginning of the month was a good time because we had gotten our food stamps and everything was good. But towards the end of the month, it got harder. And literally, there would be times where my mom, she would ask me if I wanted seconds. And I knew if I ate seconds, that meant my mom would not eat. So because I feel like I'm the man in the house, no, ma'am, I'm good. And she would eat, and some nights I went to bed hungry. You weren't there. You weren't there that Sunday afternoon. We're at my grandparents' house, having Sunday dinner. Y'all, we having macaroni and cheese, ham on the bone. Y'all, my grandma was homemade cornbread. How many of y'all got that grandma who can take sunflower seeds and make it fresh on Thanksgiving dinner? Right? Watch it up and all. We had some red Kool-Aid. Why you was good? We're eating, and seeing my funny little sister. Y'all back there, she was checked up. I ain't gonna lie. Yeah, she's beautiful woman there, but back there, she had this snack thing going on. I didn't know about she like, police officer. Like she's beautiful now, but back then, we're sitting at the table, we're eating, and seeing my sister, my mom, my grandfather, my two aunts sitting across the table, and there's a space open. And as I'm sitting at the table, I stop. And I look around and I said, where's my dad? My grandmother, she stops. She slowly looks up at me and she gives me this look as if to say, we're not gonna have that conversation right now. She never says a word. She puts her head back down. She continues to eat. I do the same thing. I go back to eating, and all of a sudden, the macaroni and cheese doesn't taste the same. The ham isn't even working. Even red Kool-Aid isn't helping because I have this burning question in the back of my head. And before I realize it, I get so upset. I look up and I shout out, "Where's my dad?" My grandmother, she stops. She pushes away from the table. She gets up. She walks over to me. She grabs my hand. She pulls me into the kitchen. She sits me down. She picks up the phone. And the next thing you know, I hear my grandmother say, look, I don't care where you are. Get here now. An hour later, I'm sitting downstairs in my grandfather's stand. I'm sitting in my dad's lap. I'm crying so hard. I'm literally choking on my own tears. My chest is getting tight. But every breath that I can, I'm saying, but Dad, why don't you report me? Dad, why don't you love me? What did I do wrong? You want to know what my dad said to me? I'm sorry, son. I'm just too busy. I was only 9 years old. And it was in that moment when my box got built. And this was my box. I'm not good enough. I'm not wanted. I'm not loved. Why am I bringing this up to you? As I look across this room, I see so many people who are out here to make a difference, people who are actively taking steps and making a difference in the community and their family lives at this university. But I want to say something. If you have a box holding you back, you have not seen your greatness yet. Listen, our past, when it becomes our box, we won't see the world the same. Opportunity will show up and knock on our door, but because of that box, we won't see how we can show up in our greatness and make that difference. You have to destroy that box. And I'm going to give you 3 steps to destroy the box. Everybody put one finger up like this and say, step number 1. Hands down, you have to acknowledge that there is a box. How many of y'all know somebody who got issues? John, let me finish my statement first. She's like, child.
You don't even know.
Hear me out right through. How many of y'all know somebody who got issues? You know that they got issues. Everybody else knows that they got issues, but that person that don't seem to know that they got issues is that one person. How many of y'all know somebody like that? Right? It's like the one person in a small room who wants to tell their life story all of a sudden, but they have bad breath. And they come to you and they're like, bruh. You're like, take that. No, bro, I'm good.
You're not good.
Alcoholic, bro. No, bro, I'm good. As funny as I joke about that, I want you to consider that if you not acknowledge the box, your box is going to reach out and hurt the people closest to you. That box, sometimes, how many of y'all have ever just had a moment where you saw something and it was so random and you just flipped out? You're like a tree fell, or a leaf fell off the tree, and you're like, the father gets on my nerves. There's probably a box there. When we talk about legacy, the focus of today is then, now, and forever. If you are going to move to your now, you have to acknowledge it. You have to. And some of us, we spend so much time trying to put down and not deal with, ignore, and run away from this time out from that, especially in today's time. Acknowledge the box, and I finally acknowledge the box. Let me tell you how I would love to stand here and say I was a grown adult, and I acknowledge no. Let me tell you how I acknowledge my box. When I left that situation with my dad, I went from being sad to being angered and bitter. How many of y'all know somebody who's just mad all the time, just mad for no reason? You look at them and you're like, hey, and they're like, the sun is shining. You're like, okay, bro. Listen, I'm gonna say this real quick because I definitely want to mind the time. Here's the thing. This is how I discovered my box was not serving me. Here's what ended up happening. I had an anger issue growing up. So by the time I was in my teens, like literally, I was jacking out at anything. One day, I'm at home and my mom, she's like, Art, I need you to do the dishes. Yes, ma'am. Doing the dishes. My boys come knocking on the door. All right, bro, we need to talk. I'm like, bro, I'm doing the dishes. This is gonna take a few minutes. Okay, I go outside, I'm talking to my boys. I come back in the house 2 hours later. And when I come back in the house, my mom is standing at the sink doing the dishes. And I walk around that corner, and all I hear my mom say is, all right, I thought I told you to wash these dishes. Have you ever had a moment in your life where some words flew out of your mouth? And as soon as those words flew out of your mouth, you wish you could snatch it right back. Anybody ever have a moment like that? So when my mom said that to me, you would think I would say, I'm sorry, man, no, man. My dad said, no! I've been hanging with my boys for 2 hours. I was grown. I thought I was paying bills to the mortgage now. And then all of a sudden, the words that flew out of my mouth, I know he's not talking to me like that. And as soon as I poured spoon out of my mouth, everything went slow. There was an explosion of dishwater, and my mom turned around like this. She's like, what? And then my mom squares off on me. Let me explain my mom. My mom is 5'4". She's a big girl. She's proud of it. She calls herself fitness. She was the only girl out of all of her brothers and all of her cousins. All of them tried to fight her. None of them won. Did you just clap for my mother? I'm glad y'all clapping now, but what I'm about to tell y'all, I did not feel like no clapping in that moment. My mom squares off on me. All of a sudden, I see both hands. One hand disappears. And y'all, I got my first uppercut from my mom. Stop laughing. Yo, this was during the time when kids played hot top fades. And I swear it added 5 extra pounds to my head. Because as soon as my mom, y'all, and my neck crashed. I stumbled, I fell, I ended up laying on the ground, and I'm looking at the ceiling like, did my mom just knock me out? And then, how many of y'all know somebody like, maybe it's your mom, dad, auntie, uncle, grandma, grandpa, who believes in making a point? You would think my mom laying her child out on the floor was enough. It was not. She goes to the sink, she dips her hands in the dishwater, she comes over to me, puts dishwater in my face. Looks at me and says, now do those dishes. And then my mom steps over my body. I am so glad I have healed. Because y'all would have me up here in the fetal position crying. I said all that to say sometimes we have to acknowledge that there is a box in order for us to move on. Needless to say, from that moment, I recognized my box real quick. Which leads to step number 2. You have to forgive the person that had you create that box. Let me be very clear. I'm not saying what they did was right. Forgiveness is not about the other person. It's about you and your feelings. And then step number 3 is forgiving yourself. How many of y'all have ever done something, said something to someone else, and you see it destroyed their world, and if you could take it back, you would, and you need to forgive yourself for causing that pain with someone else? If we're going to get to our now, we have to destroy the box of the past, which is our then, in order for us to move forward. So whatever that thing is in your life, then when you know you get ready to go here, but somehow you self-sabotage yourself because you start to question, am I good enough? Am I worth it? Look, it has been said already. You're enough! Period! How many of y'all picking up what I'm putting down so far? Good stuff. All right, we gotta move on because I want to get out here on time. Here we go. Remember when I say no, you say stop. Here we go. No, to do you, the world is full of fake and phony people. We don't need it anymore. Listen, do you, but don't just do you. Do you unapologetically. Stop apologizing for who you are because people don't get you. Stop dumbing down your life to make other people comfortable.
Preach.
If they don't like you, I have to say, if we ain't together and you ain't paying my bills, you can't say nothing to me. When I say do you and do you unapologetically, listen, I'm going to take it 2 ways. Number 1, the world is thirsty and hungry for authenticity. People, believe it or not, Yes, we follow social media and this, that, and the other, but you do realize it's gotten to a point where a lot of people realize that reality TV shows aren't reality, where what's been said on social media isn't real. Listen, I had one of my boys, and how many of y'all have ever had to check your friend real quick? My boy laid up on somebody else's Maserati, took a picture, put it on Instagram, and said, living my best life. And I am that friend. If you're my friend, you gotta come with some strength because I'm gonna call you out. And my response right up under his was on somebody else's car. But we live in a society where people are praised for emulating other people. We live in a society where people are okay with people dismantling themselves to be seen a particular way. We live in a society where people will tell you, you know what? You have to cut your locks if you're going to be able to come in a cremation. We live in that society right now. So I say this, in our now, show up and do you unapologetically. And if they don't like it, so. And I look at it like this, people who are upset with you doing you and doing you unapologetically, you want to take a look at it. Is that your friend? Is that somebody who's close to you? If so, you need to create some distance because if they can't accept you for who you are fully, for who you are and all you are, they don't deserve a space at your table. And I'm about to step on some toes. I know I am. We cannot scream, we want justice if we don't want it for everybody. Because real talk, the moment we start saying, well, I want justice for this group, but them, I don't know. You're showing up just like the enemy you're fighting against. It is time for us to start showing up authentically as ourselves because let me tell you why this is important. We need to start creating spaces for people to feel safe. And people are not always, we don't always need to be in four walls. How about you be the person that shows up? And when you show up in your authenticity, someone feels freedom. They feel safe. They feel there now, right now. I don't know about y'all, but I love when people walk up to me in the airport and say, I just feel so comfortable around you. Let's start not creating the safe space. Let's be the safe space. I'll give it a try. And I want to say this. When you do you and do you unapologetically, you're going to create a fan club. And the name of that fan club is called The Haters. How many of you got and you know, I used to get and then one day I realized if you take the word haters and you break it down to HATERS, this is what haters stand for. People having attitude towards everyone reaching success. And I'm like this, if you're gonna have haters, give them a Netflix-worthy documentary, baby. Well, you think you all that? No, I don't think I'm all that. I know I'm all that. A bag of chips of shame and some chocolate chip cookies. Everybody look at the person next to you, look at them in their pretty eyes, and if their eyes ain't pretty, just pretend like they are. And say, hey you! Hey you! You want to say, hey you! Hey you! Let it go. Now you can tell that person again. Put on your serious face. And then take your finger and point it above your head at that person like this. I don't see a lot of them. Okay. Look at them and say, hey you. Say, do you? Last thing, last time. Have you all done at least one thing so far? Here we go. Last thing, you really say no me. I don't know what to do. No me! To get too mad. Let me explain. There's two types of man. There's average man. Everybody put your hand up like this and say, average. Average. Give it to me ugly. Say, average. Average. This is what average man looks like. Somebody says something to you, all of a sudden it affects your face. Now you walking around, you mean mugging everybody, you stomping around, you throwing stuff. And then because you don't feel no better, you get home and you turn around and you kick your puppy. Oh. No. Why would you do that to female? And by the way, for my people who are animal lovers in your you already see the looks in your eyes, y'all are like, where's this car? That's average man. We don't need average man. Listen, I love James Baldwin. And there was something that James Baldwin said, and I heard it some years ago, and I didn't get it because I was younger. But then I recently heard it again, and it makes so much sense. He says, to be Black in America is to live in a constant state of rage. Unfortunately, I get it. Unfortunately, I get that people feel uncomfortable when I show up. I get it. That when I stand in an elevator with someone, people grab their purse or pull their children closer. I get it. When I'm standing at the airport and they have called first class and I literally walked up to get in the line and this lady looks at me and she's like, sir, can I see your ticket? You know how sometimes you just need Jesus to show up in your body? Yes. Sir, can I see your ticket? I said, excuse me. Sir, he called first class. I said, really? I took my ticket, I unfolded it, and I put it straight in her face. And I said, sweetie, this is first class. And here's what the thing is, she wasn't even first class. Here's the thing. We could be average mad and always walking around mad, or we can make another choice and get to, man, check it out, get to M-A-D. Check it out. Get to making a difference. Y'all, let me be very clear about something. Every single person in this room is capable of making a difference. And listen, how we all make difference may be different. Some of us may work with the larger organizations or the government. Some of us may just work with our family. We all get to make a difference. My question to you is this. Will you be the type of leader that shows up to challenge the organizations and the systems that are causing issues within our communities forward? Will you be the leader and the person who shows up to make a difference for the people who have been affected by that said system? Or maybe you're both. If you're going to get to your forever, it's intentionally every single day choosing to make a difference. And I'm going to give you one thing. It's give it 110%. There are a lot of people out here wreaking havoc, causing issues. Racism is on the rise. Y'all, I spoke at a school not too long ago. And for someone this close to literally call me the N-word, we get to make a difference. So my question is, will you be one of two people? There's two types of people in this room. 97%ers and 3%ers. A 97%er is someone who will come to the event like this, be inspired, hear amazing speeches, be inspired at a level that they've never been inspired by, and then they'll walk out these doors, they'll go home, and they'll do nothing different. Those are the 97%ers. But it's the 3%er who will take one action that will literally make a difference. Don't believe me? Yes, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was the leader of the civil rights movement, and his focus was huge. But it was Rosa Parks that took one action that sparked a revolution. My question is, what revolution will you spark in your life today? Don't be scared to destroy your box. Don't be scared to do you, boo. And above all, don't be scared to get too mad, because when you're clear about that, that's when you get to live your legacy, and that's when you can acknowledge it for then, now, and forever. Y'all, my name is Art Jackson. Y'all be here.